Hello from the Yarn Closet in St. David, Arizona. There's like one perfect spot where I'm bright but not, or maybe I can't tell because I'm legally blind. For those of you who are new here, I am legally blind. And I am a knitter, and I'm a crocheter, and I'm a loom knitter, and I'm a machine knitter. I've used sock machines. I no longer have one. I've used the Addy sets. I no longer have those. I have an LK150 knitting machine. It's flat, straight across. I'll give you a picture. It's got a 6.5 millimeter gauge. And I just bought this Empasol, whatever, it's an old machine. Mod 100, so it's got 100 hooks for stitches, and it's 5 millimeters. So that'll be a little bit easier because I work a lot with fingering. I haven't been thrilled with doing fingering double through this. That just doesn't quite work. But this works really well, the LK150, for the sport and the DK weights that I use a lot. Plus the new one is metal and it has gate pegs, so that it makes it easier to bind things off. I have not perfected my bind off in machine knitting. I also have a Hague linker. This machine, whether you use machine knitting or hand knitting, the sole purpose is to seam two flat pieces together. It's brilliant. I love it. You can use anything from a fingering weight to bigger worsted. That's as far as I've gone. You just can't use the same yarn to do that seam if it's two thicker pieces. You have to use a corresponding something thin. But I'm still perfecting that for smaller pieces. Like, I want to be able to do some stuff, but I just don't know if it's going to work out really well. I just have to get to a point where I master it. You know, I'm at that frustrating point where I have a lot of single items that aren't quite right, so you don't want to quite go to do that second one, like fingerless gloves and stuff. I can show you a couple of them. I think I have shown you a couple of them. And, oh, if you follow me on Instagram, I'm YarnCloset AZ for Arizona, and MawgeeKitty over on Instagram, or Ravelry. My mom and I share her account. My mom's almost completely blind. She has both RP and macular. She still loom knits quite a bit and is very good at it, and people marvel at us all the time. Here's the deal. You know somebody who's the equivalent of us. Chances are they're just over the age of 70 and they're not telling anyone. My mom doesn't like to tell anyone because she doesn't want to be perceived as vulnerable. I'm 49. I don't want to be perceived as vulnerable. I'm still a woman, but I have an autistic 12-year-old and a 5-year-old. So I feel the need to tell people just for their sake. And I was a single mom for a long time, so I needed to tell people then too, because I wanted the help. I wanted as much safety as possible. It has been a challenging year. No. No. There's absolutely nothing going on across the street. Can you see him? That's little Chip in his machine knit sweater. We're looking out here into our screened-in porch and across the street at the neighbor's farm. Stop, Chip. It's been a tough year. We've all gotten through it. We're moving forward. Let's take those good lessons with us, which is more hand washing, a little bit more conscientious behavior when we have an illness. No. Okay, I have 4 dogs now. I have 2 standard poodles, Sadie and Rusty. I have a toy poodle, Chip, and I have a pit bull mix, Magnus. We have 2 cats that live inside, and then 7 to 13 cats that are barn cats outside. They don't live in our small barn, but they live in our garden shed that's kind of open. And sometimes they sleep there, sometimes they sleep somewhere else. Our mouse problem has gotten much better because our house had been vacant for a year. So there was a mouse problem when we moved in. We moved in August. And we've had a couple signs of mice recently, but it's been really cold, like in the 20s overnight. So I live in Arizona, southern Arizona, like I can spit and I'm in Mexico. But we live in this funny little notch along the San Pedro Valley wash, underground river deal. And so it's very green in our little chunk. There's a lot of pecan farming here. We've got pecan trees on our property. And temperature-wise, it's about 1,000 feet higher than Tucson. It's just nice. We get 4 seasons. Every single time. No.
What?
I'm talking to Magnus. Come here and show people your grandpa doll.
What about my grandma doll?
Is that your grandma doll?
No.
Who is this?
Grandpa doll.
So my daughter wanted grandparents' dolls. So I got her 2 little elderly people dolls. My mother took it literally. There's also a grandma doll. These are the creepiest things you've ever seen. Oh my gosh. Come here.
This is my grandma doll. I wanted them because I love my grandma and grandpa. I think she made these because
Etsy. She bought them at a store called Etsy.
She bought it at a store named Etsy, and they had her face, or they said to make their face.
Okay, now take them and say bye.
Bye. I'm Boo. Bye.
So, so let's take all the stuff we've learned from 2020, like better hygiene, better conscientiousness when we're sick, and giving ourselves a break, cutting ourselves some slack, helping our neighbors. I think a lot of us have helped out other people throughout the year. I would like to see more and more of that happen, because it just seems so unfair how people have been affected by this. And for those of you
Anyway, my dad is gone with Mom.
Thank you. I'm not gone. Dad went out to see his mom today, his stepmom. Children. I can hardly do anything. Hardly. Which is why for months during this pandemic, it's been hard for me to keep up the podcast. I did switch things over on Patreon. I do have a Patreon. It's not really a daily blog. I do blog on that sometimes. I use it for a lot of free patterns, my own and other people's. I just posted today a copy of a free written pattern for the Strong Heel. It's not named Strong because it is strong, although I believe it is. It's strong because the woman who made it, her last name was Strong. Okay, this is top down, a shorty sock. The Strong Heel has a gusset and then a heel that's turned. Maybe you can tell better if I flip it upside down. And Adam Clark over on Ravelry has a free download of the written how to do this. One of the benefits of this is, Magnus, knock it off. It's very easy. There's no picking up stitches from a heel flap, and there's no holes. Okay, I'm going to take off a sock I'm wearing, which is very similar. Actually, so this is 2 strands of Happy Valley. It's a Knit Picks sock yarn. And this is an Afterthought heel. And even in my Afterthought heels, there's just a little bit of pull. And this one was actually pretty good, although I did sew on my corners in this one, I know. And this is double thick. They're a little bit loose. They're a recent, like I've recently made these. I don't know if it's because of all the sand in our atmosphere here, because I am still in the desert. I mean, my yard is dirt and part of the year some grass. I'm just so hard on the socks. So I'm trying to make some more house socks that are double thick and that have a sturdier makeup. And I don't know if you can see this. Do you see this gusset? I mean, for me, this is absolutely brilliant. I mean, it's beautiful. Like, I can't normally do that. I find the heel flaps, I always have holes. They're more challenging. I get confused. This was so super easy. And no extra, like for the Afterthought heels, no extra stuff to weave in. I mean, that's why the heels on the ones I'm wearing look so good, because of all the extra yarn that I wove in. So I'm making those, and I'm just so excited. Do you want to see how it fits? I'll show you my foot. Why not? I'm showing you my gunky forehead. It's called basal cell, people. Go to your doctor. If you have a weird thing that just kind of develops, go to your doctor. I had 2 doctors tell me it was a flat wart, and one was going to have it taken off, but then COVID hit, and so now I went to the other doctor, and she's like, no, it's basal. So she froze it off, and it's still in the process of, like, dying. See that? See that fit? I mean, this is just such a nice, roomier fit across this section on my foot than the majority of the socks that I have made, which is also why I think they wear out so easily. Because there's just too much tension when I actually put it on, which is why I made these a little bit looser. But then after a few days, I have to wash them because they get a little bit looser. Because I wear them when I sleep. I'm a sleep sock person. Very cold hands and feet. But I am loving this. It went really fast, although I haven't worked a lot on this sock. This part went really fast. It wasn't confusing. There's a very good tutorial on YouTube by, let me see if I can figure out the woman. Where is that picture? Where is that picture? Chili Dog is her YouTube. And so I would highly recommend, she's even got a YouTube tutorial for a toe up, but I would highly recommend hers. And oh, I just love it. I'm so excited. And here's my other theory for 2021. You know how we went into 2020 with like the 9 things you wanted to do or whatever? And I made an update on mine on Instagram. My 2021 is I'm not going to wear matching socks. So I'm going to make this one, and then to not get bored, I'm going to do a different combination of yarns and make the same sock in different color. I might even do different cuff here, but I'll probably do the same heel because I'm loving this. But I might just make a whole bunch of different variations on a shorty sock with different cuffs and stuff, because it just keeps you going. This is a nice project to have. When I first started knitting 4 years or so ago, it was because I wanted to make socks, because crocheted socks were not the same, and I wanted to make socks I could actually wear in my shoes. And I can now, but I'm just, we're all home. I'm home. I always was home. I don't drive. So that's why I'm going into these house socks. But I will tell you the truth. I didn't really want to make socks. I just didn't think I could make a sweater. I thought, learning how to knit is hard enough. Well, learning how to knit is not actually any harder than learning how to crochet. It's just different, and there's different things to learn. And like this sweater, I made this sweater. This is Piece Fleece from Harrisville Designs. It's big, it's chunky. I knit it in the round. I steeked the armholes. I steeked this front, that means cut. This did not end up being the way that I wanted, this neckline, so it fits a little odd now. That's why it's safety pinned and why I just have this big thing there. I could put buttons or something on it, I'm sure, and it would make it more functional somehow for me, but whatever. You guys don't care. You do the same thing with some of your stuff, right? I'm not the only one. But it's just the right weight because it's the 3/4 sleeves. I'm so excited to have cold days in the 50s, overnights in the 20s and 30s, the potential for snow. It's so lovely. For a knitter, this is like nirvana after how many years in Tucson? It's just, people here have actually worn stuff that I've knitted for them. So, and then somebody commented about shorty socks and, but in the wintertime you need longer socks. Well, I don't know about you, but I'm of a certain age and swelling happens and whatever. So I make these little cuffs. This one is part cashmere. It's very soft. And I just put them over the top of my socks. A lot of times I wear like leggings to bed. So it covers that space between the legging and the sock and keeps me toasty warm. And then, I could also do this if I wanted. But I have a few of those. And so going into 2021, I don't have the 9 patterns or whatever. I did that last year. So I just made some determinations. Something so that I can produce more socks this year. And I bought the linker, which is fabulous. Even for hand knits, I just knit a few more stitches on the sides to use for the seams. And that is fabulous. It's just fabulous. I'm so excited I did that. I found it on eBay. It's used. It came ready to go. So it was a reasonable price, and the machine I just bought, the flat knitting machine, was also very reasonably priced. I will have to do some cleanup on it, but it should knit pretty easily. And they really help for panels. I mean, they really help for panels, and I don't mind doing panels, especially now with that.
I found this, but you can see I broke the round necklace
the cord
part.
Yeah, this says lock and unlock. Okay, can I continue to talk
Is
to
this
the people?
unlock?
Where the arrow is lock, so unlock is down there at the bottom. So this is unlocked, that's locked. Okay, can you let me talk to my friends? So the other thing I did was I went on Knit Spin Farms and I bought some yarn and I had them tube it up in sock tubes. so I can make some leg warmers. Yes, I used to have a sock machine. I got rid of it. That one was grossly expensive, and just, I didn't think, well, first of all, we were trying to buy the house. So every little bit extra was going to help. And I just didn't feel like the expense of that actually warranted, to spend $175 on a knitting machine.
Mom, Connor put the whole pack of the black popcorn in his bedroom, but not the big bag.
I know, I told him he could. There's another black bag in the pantry. If you want some of that popcorn, go find it. And you can open the bag and get one.
I don't want to.
Okay.
Wait, remember?
And then this is like $1,000 machine new, and I got it for under $400, $3 something. But also, my eyesight's getting worse. So if I can learn all this stuff now, and my mom says the same thing. I was telling her for years to do that, and she really didn't, and now she regrets it. I want to have the muscle memory to be able to use these machines as things get harder, so I can still do stuff. Although I did go and do a crochet project today, or this week. Do you see? What they are is solid granny squares, and I did all 9 of them. 2 of them I actually finished, the center one and then one of the other ones, the corner ones. And I left the last row on the rest of them, so then my last row will be join as you go. I find that it was super fast. This is going to be like actually a 3-day project to get this baby blanket done, and I forget just how fun and satisfying that is. Crochet is so fast to get something put together. I don't know why I don't like crocheted sweaters, though. I don't. What else? What were we going to talk about this week? The fact that we got through this week, that kids start back at school hopefully on Monday, and I'm hoping some of you have some real life school experience going on and not all homeschool, because it has been joyful. She doesn't have a full school schedule. They're only 4 days a week. She had a few days off before the holiday, because all of a sudden a bunch of people were quarantining due to COVID exposure. One of the other schools in the area had the same thing. So we're praying that she can safely go back. And I'm just praying for everybody throughout this whole thing. But we have to find ways to help each other and to give ourselves a break. I gave myself a break by not podcasting a lot during this time. I would like to start it up again, but membership is dwindling, and hits on Patreon, where I have the free knitting, crochet, what to do with a sock tube, loom knitting, and now this strong heel. I think there was another free thing off of Ravelry, but there's just not a lot of traffic, so I'm not really sure how much I'm going to move forward in the future, because it feels like the channel is dying a bit. And I mean, I love it. I want to proceed forward with it. I want to be a little bit more organized with what I'm knitting on, what's finished projects, show some of the other projects around the little homestead we now have. Like, do you see this? Do you see those white lines? So this is a 1977 mobile home. And so they have these weird slats that were like holding up this drop ceiling, and they yellow over time. So as stupid as it seems, I just went through and I painted those an antique white because the ceiling needs to be fully repainted, but give me a break, people. Give me a break. But I at least did those so that visually it's far less confusing. And that's what I mean. Give yourself a break. There are spots in my ceiling that are just gross and dirty. Oh well. It's not like we're having people actually in our houses these days. But if you get more involved with the channel and the Patreon, there will be more benefits. And as long as things continue to kind of grow and be active, I'll continue to make an effort. Otherwise, I am contemplating just making it more of the occasional vlog for my own purposes, to be able to remember stuff. And so here we go. We were going to do a gift card. So there's a $20 gift card to ArtisticLily Hand-Dyed Yarns. She also does some bags, I believe. And Beth Thorison, you have won the gift card. Email me at TheYarnCloset@yahoo.com and I'll send you the information on the $20 gift card to ArtisticLily. And hopefully you can get something from her, enjoy something from her. She does some fun sock sets. I do like her yarns, and I do like the way she does tonals. I love a good tonal, you know? So here is that Happy Valley. I had a few skeins of this, but they're all significantly different, even though this is from Knit Picks. And then I found this nifty little tonal. You can see it's kind of tonal. And it just worked really well. And what it does is it just absolutely, when you mix those tonals with a hand-dyed, I went from having 2 strands of Happy Valley, which is basically blue, green, and orange sock, to having a pink sock, a salmony sock. I just love tonals. They can add so much to your projects if you're a yarn combiner. It's fun to be a yarn combiner. It's like being an artist and mixing your burnt ochre and, you know, titanium white. How do we all know about titanium white if we're of a certain age? Thank you, Bob Wilson. It was Bob Wilson, wasn't it? No, Bob Wilson is a lady from a YouTube from Crochet, and she's Australian. You know, the painter dude with the fro. Yep. So this is my New Year's Day. I've been watching a lot of the Minimal Mom lately on YouTube. I get very confused with things, and I'm contemplating really paring down my wardrobe to like 3 pairs of pants and 2 dresses and some tops, and having just real limited amount of stuff in my closet. Because the reality is, we pretty much wear the same 10 things all the time. I am lucky enough to have a nice storage closet that I can reserve the rest of my wardrobe and like swap it out. Because really, I've had to buy a lot more long sleeve stuff, some long underwear since we moved here. And so I do seem to have the start of a double wardrobe, vests and jackets and things that I just didn't have or really use in Tucson. I'm thinking about that. I'm thinking that would be a little bit less stressful on me. But who knows? I mean, I don't know. Has everyone lost motivation like this? I mean, totally, I've lost motivation. And people would say, but you moved and you built this and you did that and the animals and the chickens. Oh, and the chicken that was injured, Connor's July, which is our mottled chicken. She's beautiful. She has recovered. She's absolutely recovered. We believe she can see. We don't believe there's any cognitive issues. Her depth perception seems to be pretty spot on. They're chickens after all. And, you know, that just taught my husband that growing up they had so many more chickens. When there was an issue, that was it. They'd eat it. But when you only have 6 chickens, one of them's a rooster, you know, we're a small family. Everybody wants the eggs, but you don't want 6 dozen a week. So I just want them to get going on the egg thing. Magnus, knock it off. Because I want to be able to start feeding the cats and the dogs some eggs to help with their coats. Because it is so dusty in Arizona, regardless of the fact that we have some green here. It's still dusty. I've been spraying horse detangler in the poodles' coats to help. And my daughter and I have both been having to use an excessive amount of detangler. Her especially, because her hair is more curly than mine and thicker. But, see, it's just, I just love this. I love this sock. I mean, look at that. Look at that heel. It's an actual heel. And this space right here is just so much wider than it would be with an afterthought heel. And when I do afterthought heels, I do 4 to 6 blank rounds to give yourself a little bit extra. That's just not enough. I love the way that this one is shaped. So that's where I've been this last week, and I hope that Beth at least is going to start off the new year well with her gift card. Like, subscribe.
This is a horrible
Like, subscribe, and comment. Let me know that you're there and you're active so that we can continue to grow on the channel. What are you interested in? More crochet, more chickens? What do you like? Less dogs? Say hi, Magnus. Yeah. And if you love Rusty, hatching puppies is the breeder that he works with. He's a stud dog for them. And no, I don't get paid for this, but he is like the best dog I've ever had. He's 1.5 years old. He's fully intact, and he's not at all hostile. He's so mellow and low-key, smart, kind, cuddly. People, any dog combined with him would be a good one. They're playing. So look with your heart first. Let's make that our mantra for 2021. See you soon.